Hello guys, welcome back to another video, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on electric slash self-driving or flying cars of the future, what if it is going to happen. So let's begin. Okay, so many of people have, we heard the rumors. Flying cars have been a dream since, like, I don't know, 1980s and stuff. When the Back to the Future movie came out, it was like, will we have flying cars in the future? And yet in 2021, that still didn't happen. And to be honest, talking about flying cars, I'm kind of against that because it is cool to fly, but cars are not meant to fly. If you want to fly, you get an airplane, and that's how it works. Why do we need to make another flying transport? Now, by having flying cars means people now can fly themselves without using the commercial airline. You don't have to pay for the tickets. You just fly and go to another country if you want to, if it is how it's gonna work. But cars are made for the road, for driving on the ground, not for flying. So flying cars is a cool idea, but I'm against that. I think it's not right. If you want to fly, you get an airplane or a helicopter, but flying cars, nah. Putting flying cars aside, we also have a category of electric slash self-driving cars. Now, we already have some electric cars. Electric cars are starting to appear to the market, like the Tesla Model S and the Model 3 and the Model X. We have like the Porsche Taycan, we have the Audi e-tron GT and many more. Electric cars are starting to appear in the market. And they are cool because, it could be our future. They're fast because of the electric power. You get instant torque, basically, when you floor that gas pedal. And you have no engine noise, which some people find cool because when you use it daily, you don't have any noise coming into the cabin when you're driving. So it seems like a good idea. But I'm kind of against electric cars as well because that means our old petrol cars are now starting to leave. We're not going to have any more V12s, V6s, V8s. Petrol cars aren't going to be banned anytime soon. And for a lot of us petrol heads, is quite sad news. And with electric power, we're now starting to move to electric power. So there's not going to be any more screaming engines, just silence on the roads. And, electric power is not as bad as flying cars. But the problem with electric is that you have to charge them regularly instead of petrol cars, which you refuel like after 1 or 2 weeks. So it seems like petrol cars are more efficient, or diesel cars, than electric cars. Because in the process of making electric cars, you also require more coal than you would need to power a petrol or diesel car. So, once we get in the future, obviously, that's going to be resolved. But right now, I think electric cars, they're certainly a bit, I'm not a fan of them. Also, when it comes to driving experience, I haven't driven an electric car, so I can't really say how to drive, but because you have a lot of weight on them, they might not be as exciting to drive as a normal petrol or diesel car. But, performance car brands like Porsche are trying to get rid of that with the Taycan. They're trying to make it the most fun electric car. And the best way you can do this is to reduce weight when making the car by using lighter materials or making the battery smaller or something like that. But right now, there are not much choices out there and they're not that exciting, I think you're better off right now with a petrol car. But by anytime soon, you're going to have to move to electric power. Like, by 2030, petrol is planned to be banned, petrol cars, and we're all going to move to electric power. So that's going to happen in 9 years, and that's not a lot of time. So that's why a lot of buyers might start to consider electric cars instead of petrol and diesel cars. Since these materials, they're hurting the environment, we have to do something about it, which is why we're starting to move to electric power. Now, no, as much as electric power, I don't really like it. What really bothers me is self-driving. it's cool again, self-driving. You don't have to drive the car, but this technology has been attempted to be made, but it's still not perfect, and maybe in the future will eventually make the technology work eventually. But as of right now, there's not much self-driving options. But when I'm talking about self-driving, again, this is one of gripes that petrol heads are gonna have, because you're not at the wheel anymore. You don't have a manual gear stick to shift. You're not turning the wheel. The car's gonna do it for you, the vehicle. And again, that's not gonna add into any experience. The fun of driving a car for some of petrol heads is driving it. The driving experience you get, the speed, the the handling, all of that. The driver controls the car, but now the car is going to control it itself, and passengers are gonna be just sitting in the car. Their car will just eventually transport them from point A to point B. So there's not gonna be any more driving engagement, racing, and all that if we're gonna move to self-driving technology. Now, I am pretty sure car manufacturers are gonna stand. There are some petrol heads out there who are against this. And some car manufacturers are probably going to make cars that you can drive yourself without any self-driving technology. That's my thinking. But unless it's going to be banned, what if driving cars is going to be banned? Then, well, that's not going to be any good. I just hope it's not going to be banned, because it will be nice to have some options of cars you can drive, especially the real sports car and supercar makers like Lamborghini, Ferrari, and all that. They know that fans, the petrol heads, want a driving car, and if they're gonna move to electric, they're not gonna make it self-driving. No, it's a car you have to drive. Otherwise, what will be a point of owning a supercar or a sports car? But yeah, self-driving technology, I'm also against of that. It's as bad as flying cars, though. But let's now talk about some solutions, and the only solution I've heard right now is e-fuel. Can e-fuel save petrol and diesel and replace electric power? Well, we haven't heard any rumors of e-fuel as of right now. Scientists are trying to find to make cars be more less harming, I guess, because that's one of the problems of cars, of diesel engines and petrols. They hurt the environment, which is why we're trying to move to electric power. But e-fuel might be another option, because what if it's more efficient to make it than electric batteries and all of that stuff, and electric motors, which requires more coal than a petrol car would to fuel it up with petrol. So e-fuel might still give us the petrol head vibes, like driving the car and having an engine noise, because it's still going to be an engine, a proper engine, but it's going to have a different type of petrol in it, and it might sound a bit different, kind of like diesel sounds different to petrol, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be better than electric power. When you're going to have an engine noise, you're going to have a proper car feel, instead of all the electric batteries having underneath the car for you, and driving a heavy silent car with no soul. That's one of the problems with electric cars. They don't have a soul in them. Whereas if you drive a sports car or a car, they have a character of their own. They have soul, you have an engine noise, you have all of these vibes. With electric cars, you don't get much of them. And as flying cars, I think it's just not right. Cars that fly, we have airplanes, so nah. And e-fuel might be the option to save petrol and diesel engines. I hope that this technology will be revised, as well as electric cars, and as well as self-driving cars. I'm kind of against that as well, because this technology, first of all, it needs to be revised. Like, it needs to be, working, because robot technology doesn't always work perfect. So it's better for a human being to drive, because they know what they're doing, than give it to a robot that will drive for you. So, and also when when you want to have fun and drive, obviously driving yourself is what you want to do, because you want to feel everything. You want to drive the car, you want to steer the car, you want to shift the gears and all that, driver engagement. With self-driving, you're obviously not going to get that. A self-driving car is like a public transport car. You just use it to get from point A to point B without a requirement or a driver. So yeah guys, these are my thoughts on all of the three topics, and I hope e-fuel will somehow save petrol and diesel cars for a lot of us petrol heads, because electric cars, they're cool. What's not so cool is flying and self-driving cars. I'm against that. So yeah guys, let me know in the comments what do you think of the future of the cars in terms of electric, self-driving cars and flying cars. And I hope these things are not going to come to life. I hope we're still going to have our own just possible proper sports slash supercar driving cars that you can properly drive and enjoy when you want to. So yeah guys, that's been it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.